we can all see now. We're like, okay, you're with them. Okay, you think that about Britain. Oh, okay, you're ashamed of that. Oh, okay, you think we're all racist. Maybe through that we can get to some better place.
Absolutely.
Vote reform.
But only through deportations, mate.
Now, saying to me, Matt, we need to deport the Afghans and the Syrians and the Eritreans who have come into this country illegally. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. Where should we send them? But you're talking about deporting British nationals. Where are they going? We created this mess. We have to fix it. And that means we have to think about integration and what we do with those communities. But this kind of, let's just do remigration en masse. Like, why waste your time with that? No one's ever going to vote for that in this country.
Well, you've just lost all of Lotus Eaters there, Matt. A lot of sheep are white, Matt.
It's a lot. I'll tell you as well, I'm going to say it. It's a lot of anti-white racism. That's what it is.
Yeah. But how many black sheep are there? Not enough. Makes you think, doesn't it? We need more black sheep.
Let's move on.
Hello and welcome to Francis Foster Sort Your Life Out, the show where I indeed sort your life out. Bear in mind, I'm not a therapist, physiotherapist, psychotherapist, any of that. So you know the advice you're getting on this show is golden. We've got one of my favourite people in the world to come and sort your problems out. It's Matthew Goodwin. Matt Goodwin, how are you, sir?
I've got lots of problems I need sorting out. Can you sort my problems? Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Very busy, but good. Politics is erupting, so I'm all over it.
I mean, politics is erupting. Is it erupting in a good way?
It's erupting in a good way for people that want to save the West, right? Trump, Nigel, what's going on across Europe, like revolution is here, let's go.
I'll be honest with you, as a man who's actually seen a revolution, mate. I mean, it was a communist revolution, so
right, okay.
not that the good type. Well, is there a good type of revolution? Anyway, do we want a revolution?
I do, yeah. I want to completely take on this dismal establishment that's presided over the last 30 years. I want these guys taken to town. I think the next general election in this country, the UK, is going to be the most interesting, fascinating, significant historic elections we've had since the early 20th century. It's going to be as important as the rise of Labour, if not more important.
I mean, we're going to see what's going to happen, because if you look at all the political parties, well, I had someone in that chair, in the TRIGGERnometry chair, who was saying to me that they think the Tories are going to win the next election.
Are they on drugs? Who was that? Are you allowed to say?
No.
Was it Kemi Badenoch?
No, it wasn't Kemi Badenoch.
Robert Jenrick?
No.
The Tories are dead. DEAD, dead. It's over. Done. Finished. Finito. The brand is gone. They're on as you and I speak now, early September 25, they're on 16% of the national vote. Like, anyone who went to university and studied politics would have read The Strange Death of Liberal England. What we're living through is the strange death of Toryism. It's over. Done. See you later. Like, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Really? Do you think the party is is just finished?
They wrecked Britain. They destroyed Britain. Boris Johnson wrecked the country through the Boris wave. And I saw the interview that you guys had with Boris Johnson, actually. I thought it was great. But he wrecked the country. I mean, he flooded Britain with low-wage, low-skill migrants from outside of Europe. The Tories have always put big business before the country. They've always put themselves before the country, and now we're supposed to take another punt. Like, if you invited an architect to redo your house, and that architect destroyed your house, would you invite that architect back?
No.
Exactly. So there you go. Invite Nigel over.
Actually, Nigel's more fun than the Tories.
I know. I've been drinking with Nigel many times.
This is what the left never appreciates. If you're going to go to a party, you don't want to go to a party with left-wing people.
Actually, I remember about 10 years ago, I was writing a book on UKIP. And I said to Nigel, look, have you got some time? You know, this was ahead of the 2015 general election. And he said, yeah, but I want to show you a few places in the city. And I don't think he'll mind me telling this story because he used to be a stockbroker.
Yeah.
So he said, come and meet me in the city. I'll show you a few places and you can do the interview while we go around these places. I said, all right, what time do you want to meet? He said, 12 o'clock sharp. I said, all right, 12, where do you want to meet? The Jamaica Inn. I said, all right, let's go to the Jamaica Inn. 12 o'clock, boom, drinks on the table. I think I left him at around 11:30 p.m. from some other, disaster zone pub in the city. I mean, this was what he would call a PFL, right? A proper F lunch. You get what I'm saying? Yes. This thing went on for basically 12 hours. And, we went around the houses on his career, on politics. And, 10 years ago, so he would have been 50, 51. I mean, stamina doesn't come close to actually describing him. And the next morning he's up, he's on Radio 4 at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. And you see it now every day. It's like Trump. He's got this energy source, and you don't quite know where it's coming from, but every day, boom, 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 he's just on it. I don't have that.
I don't think most people have that. I remember I used to do this joke people never really liked it. They liked it in right-wing comedy clubs, of which there were a few, but which basically, like, I said to the people on the left, I said, you're not going to win. You're not going to beat Farage. This is a man who came out, who survived a plane crash, walked out of the wreckage like the Terminator.
And testicular cancer.
Yeah, saying the words, let's get Brexit done.
Yeah.
You're not going to win.
No, he's got that indefatigable quality, right? He's got that thing that Trump's got. It's like, let's just go, fight, fight, fight. And I don't think Keir Starmer's got a chance. I don't think, whoever replaces Keir Starmer's got a chance. I don't think Kemi Badenoch, I don't think Robert Jenrick's got a chance. In fact, when I was at the Spectator Awards, when Robert Jenrick gave a speech, and he was followed by Farage, and Farage told a killer joke. He said, the thing about Robert Jenrick is you can get an injection for weight loss. You can't get an injection for a personality. The whole crowd were like, ooh. It was pretty dark. It was hard. He killed him.
Oh, poor Robert.
I know, Robert Jenrick.
I actually kind of liked him. I'll be honest with you. I did. I like the little video he did as well on the tube.
The little video.
There was a little video.
Read the room. It's over for the Tories. I'd be like, Robert, read the room. Like, jump ship if you can, if they'll take you. There's a question mark over that. Read the room. Like, convincing the British people to go again on a political party that burnt down your house. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I think there is this sense of entitlement with the Tories that people have had enough of, especially Gen Z. Because Gen Z are like, I want a house. I want to actually be on the housing ladder. I want a stake in this system. And all I've got is this, like, managed decline around me, and I'm fed of it. The most radical people I meet on social media are the Gen Zs and the young millennials. I think technically what year were you born?
82.
Oh, I'm 81. Technically, I'm a geriatric millennial. I think you're a geriatric millennial too. The younger men and women that I come across on social media, they're way radical. They're like, let's really have a revolution and then some. I mean, I'm kind of impressed with it personally.
I find it mildly terrifying, Matthew. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, some of them are just like, why do we need democracy? I'm like, come on, boys.
Yeah, definitely within the realm of democracy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Some of them are they're going down to Funky Town. Let's put it that way. Right. Let's get our first problem. Dear Francis, my son asked me why people shout at politicians on the news. I didn't know how to explain that anger is the only language left.
It's true. Something has happened. I think people have just given up on the entire establishment, the uniparty. It's like what I say, I think we've had we're in a fascinating place historically because I think we're in a sort of interregnum, right? We've had what I would call the first regime, which was 1997 to the death throes of it now, which was started with Blair. Tories came in 2010, they carried it on basically, embraced cultural liberalism, embraced all the Blair stuff, still going on death throes with Keir Starmer now. But the interregnum is interesting because the next general election, 28, 29, interregnum meaning a kind of phase between two phases, I think reforms start that new regime, which is end mass uncontrolled immigration, restore free speech, restore equality before the law, no more two-tier nonsense, Britain first, British people first, protect the borders, leave the ECHR, go, 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 go. And now if you're out there and you're thinking, you know what, in fact, let me just say something direct to the people out there who think Nigel Farage is not a conviction politician or he's not hardline enough or he's too soft. Just a reminder for everyone out there, okay? Firstly, this is a guy that delivered the most significant constitutional change in this country since the Reformation with Brexit, okay? So don't give me the whole, this guy's not going to follow through. That's rubbish. Point 2, leaving the European Convention on Human Rights, disapplying the 1951 Refugee Convention, pushing back on all of these international treaties, detaining, deporting, repealing Tony Blair's Human Rights Act. This is literally the most radical stuff that this country has ever seen since the rise of Blair, and people are still on Twitter going, yeah, not tough enough. I just think there's a group out there that are so utterly disconnected from the average voter.
What, on Twitter, Matthew?
Who think that you can win a general election in this country, in Swindon, in Tamworth, in Milton Keynes, by saying, remigration, and that's it. If you think that, roll on the next parliamentary by-election, let's see what happens. Put up a candidate. Let's see how that goes. Or, smell the salts, get with the program, and understand that what is about to unfold is going to be about sequencing. It's going to be logical. It's going to be coherent. Because the first thing that has to happen in this country, Francis, and I've said this to a couple of people, you've got to understand British voters have never voted seriously for anything other than Labour and the Tories, right? They've never voted for anything other than the two big parties. Political revolution in this country, not really. Not in a big way. The Liberal Democrats.
No, the Liberals is in...
100 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, back a century or so ago.
Yeah.
Talking about today.
Yeah.
The first task for any political, radical, maverick, revolutionary in this country has got to be to get the British people used to voting for something other than Labour and the Conservatives. That's the first task for anybody who wants to change this country. The only person who can do that is Farage. The only person who's won 2 nationwide elections with 2 different parties. The only person who's won a set of local elections outside of Labour and the Conservatives. The only person who's built a new party from scratch to 35% in the national polls. The only guy who's known in every single household in this country. It is the only route to changing this country. We've gone on a tangent.
Yeah, we have.
That is why people are angry.
Not Zach Polanski.
Because they can. Not Zach Polanski. Not Zach Polanski. I'll arrest you if you say some crazy stuff I disagree with. The first thing he says is, yeah, I agree that Graham Linehan and people like that should be arrested by police officers. I'm just like, dude, you're supposed to be liberal. You call yourself liberal.
Yeah, I know. But none of those people are. But I love that. I'm going to be honest with you. I love it. I love it.
Not as much as I love Jezbollah.
Yeah,
which is watching the woke progressives now realise that about half of all British Muslims want to make homosexuality illegal, and the wokies think a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man. So good luck with that.
Well, finally something we can all agree on. But I love Jezbollah.
Jezbollah.
I do. I think, first of all, whoever came up with that is a comedic genius. Number one.
I think it was me, actually.
Was it you?
No.
But number two, I think it's fascinating what's happening with that political party. I really do. Because what Keir Starmer has done by saying that 16-year-olds can vote, he thought naively that they're going to vote Labour.
Yeah.
Was forgetting what radical little psychopaths 16-year-olds are. Because I used to teach 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they are not tethered to reality. Because they're all high on testosterone or estrogen.
It's true.
And they've had about, 12 years of conscious thought?
Yeah, well, 2 weeks probably. So they're either going to go Jezbollah or they're going to go reform.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a fight between, the more radical alternatives. Absolutely. And
Girls Jezbollah, boys reform. Pretty much.
Well, I think that's right. And I think if Reform was smart, they'd be coming up with that strategy for getting Gen Z locked down. But, Labour just look like the old, the status quo. They don't look like they're anywhere near radical enough. But let me just quickly say, there is a dark side to Jezbollah, which is what that party is going to do is mainstream sectarianism. It's going to mainstream British Muslims organising politics along religious lines. And the woke progressives are going to be the ones who are going to open the gate to that. And, as we all know, in some, if they ended up going to, Gaza and hanging out with, Hamas. Yeah. Popular name in the UK these days.
Yeah.
If they ended up going to Gaza, we all know what would happen to the Owen Joneses of the world. But it's just going to be absurd and comical watching that alliance unfold in the next 2-3 years.
I find it genuinely fascinating. I would push back. I think it's a good thing that Jezbollah exists. People are getting a chance to vote and voice their opinion. That is a political party. It represents a certain section of the population. Good that they vote. good that they say, because then we actually know what we're dealing with.
Well, then we get to see it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about the independent MPs who are like, no, actually, I'm not going to talk about the bin strikes in my own constituency. I'm not going to talk about fixing Birmingham. I'm going to talk about why we need an airport in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Because that's actually, well, at least we get to see it. At least we get to see where everybody's priorities are. I think one of the best lines Douglas Murray has in one of his books, actually the new one on democracies and death cults.
Yeah.
And he said, after October 7th, one useful thing that happened was that a flare went up and you could suddenly see where everybody stood, what they believed, what they thought, where their loyalties were, where their priorities were. And all this fluidity and chaos and carnage in British politics is like a flare going up. We can all see now. We're like, okay, you're with them. Okay, you think that about Britain. Oh, okay, you're ashamed of that. Oh, okay, you think we're all racist, et cetera, et cetera. And so maybe through that we can get to some better place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vote reform.
But only through deportations, mate.
There need to be deportations. And, reformers said there are going to be deportations. So all these people saying, well, you're going soft. What are you talking about, Willis? I've literally been in this country since 1981. We have, for the first time ever, an establishment politician, like someone in the front line of the establishment, now saying we should detain and deport illegal migrants and take control of our borders by leaving the ECHR. And you're sitting on social media saying, no, this isn't tough enough for me. It's like, I think purity spirals are really interesting. Yeah. So you live your life online, right? And you just engage in this massive purity spiral where what you once thought was radical becomes very bland. And I think that's what's happening to a lot of people out there. They've gone on this purity spiral where they're like, no, actually, the British people can be won over by saying we're just going to deport legal and illegal migrants and basically anybody who isn't white, we're going to just get them out of the country. It's like, I remember the National Front.
Yeah.
I remember the British National Party. Mm-hmm. There's a reason those parties never got really above like 3% at a general election. There's a reason, which is that the British people they think of themselves as very tolerant, very welcoming. Now, if you smash their sense of fairness, they're angry, they're furious, they're disillusioned, but they're not up for compulsory repatriation. They're not up for like, let's just round up everybody who knew anything about the rape gangs. Let's just round them up and put them in another country. That is never, ever, ever going to work in this country. And also, by the way, if you're advocating the deportation of British nationals, where are they going? Where are you going to put them? Now, saying to me, Matt, we need to deport the Afghans and the Syrians and the Eritreans who have come into this country illegally, I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. Where should we send them? But you're talking about deporting British nationals. Where are they going? And morally, how are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we created this mess. We have to fix it. And that means we have to think about integration and what we do with those communities. But this kind of, let's just do remigration en masse, like, why waste your time with that? No one's ever going to vote for that in this country. Like, box clever.
Well, you've just lost all of Lotus Eaters there, Matt. Okay, so let's go on to the next question.
I do look forward to the threads when this drops. 10 reasons why Matt Goodwin is part of the establishment.
Yeah, well, welcome, You're wearing better suits now than when I met you.
I'm the only one wearing suits these days. Have you noticed that on trains?
Yeah.
I'm the only person in a suit. I stand out like a sore thumb, but I like to think, I'm maintaining high culture. I refuse to give in. I also have no other clothes.
Dear Francis, my mate says he won't queue for anything ever. I say queues are the last bit of British civility left. Is patience a virtue or just passivity?
Who is that? I like that person. Queues are the last bit of British civility left. And that tells you a lot about what's going on in the country right now.
Yeah.
Because people are like, the thing that really riles people up is no one's respecting that sense of fairness and queuing and playing by the rules.
You see, I've got a theory about this. I think the reason Schofield was cancelled so hard isn't because he was just nonce adjacent, right?
Nonce adjacent, is that a term?
Yeah, he is. He's nonce adjacent.
Right,
he's kind of like what he did was a little bit unwise but not illegal, as he said himself.
Unwise but not illegal. I love that phrase. That's a real fridge magnet phrase.
Yeah, unwise. I use it all the time now. They go, should you have done that, Francis? Unwise but not illegal.
In fact, you put that on a T-shirt, you're going to make some serious money on that.
Yeah. But I think the real reason Schofield got cancelled so hard, genuinely, is because he skipped the queue in the Queen's to pay respect to the Queen. I genuinely believe it. Do you remember how angry people were?
Yeah, people were furious. It was like when was it the Dan Wootton video? You know, when he put down flowers by the Queen. And,
Yeah.
maybe it weren't his flowers. Who knows? But yeah, that's it's a violation.
Yeah.
And I know there's a great book on the Trump revolt by an academic, Hochschild, and she makes this point that the thing that unifies a lot of Trump voters is that sense of like, there is an American dream, we're going for it, but don't cut in front of me because I'm playing by the rules. And the thing that really, am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, you're allowed
The thing
to
that really pisses people off is when people come over, they break the rules, and then they cut in front of us in the queue. One example, people out there don't know this. I keep going on about it, so they do know about it. You know what Labour, Keir Starmer and the Labour government, right? Fairness, solidarity, we're on the side of working people. The thing they're doing now, which is so outrageous, and this is to go back to the previous question why so many people are furious, they are taking British people's money, taxpayers' money, giving it to private companies like Serco and Clear Springs, bankrolling them to offer more favourable contracts to landlords who take illegal migrants over the British people. In other words, they are using your own money to outbid you in your own housing market. That's how crazy this really is. So when I point this out to Labour MPs, I had one saying, come on, Matt, you're being a bit hardcore. I say, how do you explain this as a Labour politician? Because if I'm in Salford or Hartlepool or Blackpool, I've worked my whole life, I've played by the rules, I'm paying my taxes, I'm trying to get a house, I'm trying to get on the housing ladder, I'm sick of renting, I've got a family, and you're using my money to offer these people who are breaking our laws more favourable housing contracts so the landlords take them over British people. That is what that question is about. It's about that sense that these people are cutting into the queue and our politicians are like, come on, lads, get in. I'll help you out. That is what is really pissing people off.
It's completely accurate. I think, and that's the worrying thing for me is that when I walk around this country, like people are so angry.
I know.
They're so angry.
You know what's interesting? Two things are interesting. One is how quickly people took to the streets after Southport.
Yeah.
That was interesting to me. And the second was all these protests going on up and down the country, about 30 protests last weekend. Mainstream media's not even talking about it anymore. It's like everyone out there is kind of hitting the streets and London doesn't know what to do with it.
No.
They're just like, what's going on, guys? And then everyone's like raising flags all over the place. They've had enough. Everyone's had enough. The flags are really interesting because that's an act of resistance. That isn't only about I love my country. That's like, I'm not going to take this shit anymore.
Do you know, I love when the left go, it says to the right, they're flag shaggers. And I'm like, mate, what pride? Ukraine? Palestine?
BLM.
Yeah. You're the ultimate flag shaggers.
I
In
know.
fact, you're polyamorous when it comes to your flag shagging.
You go on any university campus now, the modern day pride multi-intersectional flag is like a religious shrine. I used to go on a campus and it would be in the middle of the campus, hanging down, and sort of, almost you expected people to start, praying to it. And yet these are the same people who are saying, well, if you fly the flag, it's a microaggression. If you fly the Union or St. George's flag, it's implicit structural racism. Like the clowns this week at Leicester University said, the countryside is racist, it has whiteness, and we should have more halal food in the countryside. And even the pub is a monoculture that makes people feel excluded. And I'm just like, these people legitimately hate who we are. They really hate who we are.
A lot of sheep are white, man.
It's a lot. I'll tell you as well. I'm going to say it. It's a lot of anti-white racism. That's what it is.
Yeah, but how many black sheep are there? Not enough. Makes you think, doesn't it? We need more black sheep.
Let's move on.
Dear Francis, I was told the new flats near me are affordable housing, but I need to triple my salary to rent one. Is affordability just a word now?
So I always say to people, you can have available and affordable housing, or you can have mass uncontrolled immigration. You can't have both.
Yeah.
Right? Pick a side. So it's absolutely bananas. If you go for an apartment in London now, on average, 25 people are looking for that apartment. 25 people. And I bet, 15, 16, 17, probably not even from Britain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is crazy. And the numbers don't even add up. I'm not going to be, boring prof and just bombard you with stats. Let me just give you one thing. Last year, we built 190,000 homes. 190,000 homes in England and Wales. Our net migration rate was basically nearly 1 million. It was like 700,000. Make this make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to me anymore. And then Keir Starmer stands up and he says, I'm building 1.5 million homes. It's like, dude, we have 5 million people came into the country since Boris. 5 million. This is a stat that blows my mind. Paul Morland told me this, a demographer. I think he's been on
Yeah, we've
your
had
show.
Paul on the show. Very nice man.
Paul, and he knows his stuff, right? He says every year since 1997, every single year, there's been more migration into this country than there was in total between the Anglo-Saxons in the 5th century and the end of the Second World War. So over the 1,500 years, put all that immigration together, in each single year from 1997, there's been more inward migration. And then they say, well, we're a nation of migrants. No, this is crazy. This is insane. That's why people are angry. And then, they want a house. They just want a nice place to live.
Do you know what pisses people off? And I don't think people talk enough about this. I genuinely don't. When you start to become conscious and you're at school, you get given a contract. What's the contract?
I didn't go to the same kind of school as you. Did you go to a boarding school?
No, of course I didn't. Look at me.
Okay.
Right, but you get given a contract. It's a social contract.
Oh, a social contract.
And it's an unwritten, and it's a social contract. And a social contract is this, Matt. If you work hard,
yep.
If you do your best,
yep.
You're going to leave school. You're going to do, the best you can in exams, whatever it is. Everyone's got a different level. But you're going to be able to go and get a job, and you're going to be able to have a decent standard of life.
Agreed.
That's the contract. And parents told kids the contract, and the kids went, okay, that's fair. I metaphorically signed the contract.
Yeah.
They've now left, and they've realised the contract's bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit.
And so what you're seeing, in my view, is people going, especially young people who I have more and more empathy for, going, hang on a minute, you've just fucking lied to me. You've lied to me. I went and did everything you said I was meant to do, and I'm fucked.
I agree. I mean, it's like the Nicholas 30 years meme, the social contract, the guy in the middle, and all the arrows are coming off him. He's going to work. He's probably got a good job in the city. He could be in London. He could be working in Westminster. He's probably earning a decent salary. But the commute is killing him, right? Both mentally and financially. He's paying for a lot of lazy migrants who are living in social housing and not even bothering to work. He's getting hammered with street crime with London, like the poor guy the other day in a very affluent part of London who was stabbed to death for his watch. And he's having to live in all of this managed decline. Also, while millions of his fellow citizens are living on welfare, by the way, but none of this makes any sense. He can't get on the housing ladder. And he's just looking ahead, and all he can see, or she, all these people can see, is just a difficult, grinding, hard life. And it's not fun anymore. And everywhere's dead, and everything's expensive. And I mean, it's ridiculous. It wasn't like this, when I was growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, basically before the great financial crash. Yeah. Things broadly, you could start to see things were going a bit crazy. Like my first mortgage was like, the banks were giving you money to take mortgages.
Yeah.
Like you could just say, this doesn't make sense. Like something's going to blow up here. But anyway, everyone went along with it. But that contract that you talk about still basically made sense. And now it's, particularly after COVID as well, food inflation's going up through the roof. Energy, we've got the highest energy prices in the world, basically. And yet no one in Westminster is being real with people about why we have the highest energy prices in the world, which is a lot to do with net zero and environmental subsidies, before you get to, women, girls having to go out being harassed all the time on public transport, and young guys having to watch themselves for hardcore, crime and stabbings and all the rest of it. And I just think this is why the next election is going to deliver a much bigger shock to the establishment than people realize. This is going to be bigger than Brexit. This is going to be like everyone who presided over this disaster is getting rinsed. They are getting cleared out. The Tories are going to like 30, 35 seats, maybe, 0 seats or whatever. They're going to go to 35 seats. Labour are going to get smashed apart. Labour are going to lose more seats to reform in the Red Wall than they lost to Boris Johnson. And everyone's going to wake up afterwards and going to go, gee, what happened? What happened? You wrecked the country. That's what happened. You destroyed the country. And now people are saying, I want my country back.
And we're going to see the rise of Ed Davey.
Hey, I mean, that in a way, Ed Davey is a symbol of this, the absurdity of the political class.
Yeah.
He's an absurd man. He's a ridiculous man. Has nothing to say about the substantive policy issues. He's just like, watch me ride a little wooden horse around Westminster Green. It's like, dude, What an embarrassment. Like, imagine spending your life that way. Sorry,
He
I've gone
seems
on a tangent.
yeah, no, it's all right. He seems like a nice fella, though.
Sure, he's a nice fella, but we are not looking for nice fellas. We're looking for leaders, right? Who are like, let's save this country.
Yeah. Oh, you've just got Jack's just saluted. He's just behind that. He's
Calm
behind
down,
the
calm
computer.
down,
He's
calm
saluted. He's raised the flag. It's
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
trans one. It's not the Union Jack either. It's a cross of St George, isn't it? Do you know, I don't think people talk about this often enough. I respect the Scottish flag. I respect the English flag. I respect the Northern Irish flag. I don't respect the Welsh flag.
Hey, steady on. I'm a quarter Welsh.
But why have you got a f***ing dragon on it?
Well, the dragon it's a symbol of Welsh identity. You know, it's
What?
about
No. Dragons come from Chinese mythology. Why has that got to be on the Welsh flag?
It's just where you're pressing my Welsh heritage. One thing I'd say about the Welsh, they're much more determined to protect
Matthew,
their heritage,
answer
culture,
the
and
question.
language than the English.
Answer the question. We're talking about the Welsh
The Welsh
flag.
dragon. I need to go on ChatGPT on the way home. My grandparents are spinning in their grave at the moment for not knowing the answer to this question. But I love the Welsh dragon, and I love all Welsh people. Diolch yn fawr.
Right, okay, fair. Like, I just look, Welsh people, all 8 of you that watch the show, thank you. You're beautiful and not new.
And by the way, Wales is going to be at the heart of this political revolution. Watch this. It's going to be Merthyr Tydfil. It's going to be the home of the Industrial Revolution. It's going to do that to Labour at the next election.
And so it should. But look, it's a country, it doesn't make sense. Daffodils is your national flower. Okay,
hang on.
agreed.
What are you talking about?
Leek is your national, well, I don't know what it is, but it's your, and then you get a dragon on your flag. No, branding's wrong, man.
Have you ever gone home, turned out all of the lights in your house or your apartment, got out a candle, and listened to a Welsh choir?
It's beautiful. I'm not denying it.
You should do that. You should do that tonight.
I should do that
If you
tonight.
don't have plans, if you're not out and about, spending £10 a pint, you should do that. You should.
It's mine and Jack's date night, so we might do that.
Oh no, it's a bit Arabic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think definitely try that. The Treorchy Welsh men's choir, that will really stir the soul.
Listen, beautiful people, lovely. They sound like Trump. I just don't agree with the flag.
Well, take it up with the Welsh.
Why do they get a dragon?
What I like, though, is everyone's running up and down the country painting roundabouts.
Yeah.
The flags. Now that I can get down. Did you see the one where they painted the roundabout and then Birmingham Council came out and they painted over it? Birmingham Council, which has done sod all to fix the bin strikes and everything else. So they painted over
They
this
went
roundabout.
bankrupt recently.
And then the next day, the guys went back out and they painted the roundabout again. So it becomes like a little bit of a, what is it? Like little whack-a-mole,
Yeah.
I love that. That's real British, English lad culture. I love the guys down at Tower Hamlets that went out with the ladder and they were like scaling up the lamppost, taking down the Palestine flags and putting up their own. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Love it. It's hilarious.
You know what the thing that annoyed me about woke people, one of the things, and it sounds trivial, but I think it's actually quite profound. I love football. Don't get as much time to watch as I used to, but the big tournaments, and I'm a huge England fan. Love watching the England football team, even though they break my heart every single opportunity. Anyway. And I'd sit there and it'd be a World Cup or Euros and I'd watch England. And it'd be a highlight of the year for me. It genuinely would.
It's coming home.
It's not, Matt. Just let's not think about that. And then you'd get people who are woke, who hate the country, and they come and support England. I'm like, no, f*** off.
Yeah.
F*** off. Because you know what? If you have your views, I'm liberal, you're entitled to them. But be consistent.
All right. Yeah. Well, I like the way that a lot of the wokies will say, aha, Englishness is a celebration of diversity. Look at the football team.
Yeah.
And it's such a ridiculous argument. I mean, these people would have you believe that the only thing that defines the English is that we celebrate other people. It's like we don't have an identity and a history of our own going back 2,000 years that we might want to be proud of. It's like you can celebrate every identity except our own. Like the 12-year-old in Birmingham. Was it Birmingham or no? Coventry or Nuneaton.
It was a Midlands town.
It was a Midlands town. She went into her local school on Culture Day wearing a Union Jack dress, and the school said, no, sorry, stay there. You're going to have to go home, get your dad to pick you up. I mean, that was a symbol of exactly what I'm talking about. It's one law for these guys, another law for the people who actually built this country. And again, that's what people are sick of.
Yeah.
You know? I'm absolutely sick of it.
No, I agree. I agree.
I keep coming back to this point because I'm very animated by it. And I think, I want, my kids and everyone else's kids to grow up in a country that is really proud of itself. And I was in Dubai recently, and they were like, "What the hell's the matter with you? Why can't you be proud?" I mean, I'm not saying Dubai is the model of the country that I would like Britain to become, sort of tax dodgers and OnlyFans. But you know,
well, there are some downsides.
yeah, there are today.
Who wouldn't want to pay a bit less tax and be surrounded by OnlyFans models? Come on.
Hey, you should be surrounded by those Substack guys.
You've lost me and Jack on that one,
A lot
mate.
of the United Arab Emirates and so on, you know, the states are just like, why aren't you proud of yourself anymore?
Well, yeah, because look, I completely agree with everything you said. Well, the one thing that I find funny though about the way that the wokes talk about diversity is they go, "Oh, this England team, you know, look at them, you know, they've got black and mixed race players playing," and then you've got people of John Barnes' generation going, "Hello." I'm black. We were playing back in 1990 and in the 80s.
John Barnes was a awesome football player. It was incredible. Just while I've got, what do you think about this Graham Linehan thing? Because you're in the comedy world.
Yeah.
I did think like this country couldn't get more batshit insane, and then I wake up and I read he is arrested by 5 armed police officers over 3 tweets. That, to be honest, compared to some other stuff I see on my timeline every day, I was like, this is pretty average. This is pretty mild. I mean, what do you think about that?
I'll tell you what I think it is. So I was talking with a few people, and some people were going, you know, this is an authoritarian government cracking down, and you know, this is a targeted strategy to destroy dissent. You know what I actually think this is? I think this is a government that is drowning and is doing whatever it can in order to maintain some semblance of order and governance over the population. I think this is the death throes of a government. Yeah. I think this is a government that has actually lost its core. Yeah. It's lost its core. It's lost any idea of what it's meant to be doing, and it's in its death throes. Yeah. You are literally seeing it dying, and when people are dying or they're at the end, they frequently do things. You go, that is utterly ridiculous. Why did you do that? And to me, the Linehan thing is a symptom of that. I think I agree with you. You know, Labour have only been in for basically a little bit more than a year, and what I will never understand is they basically knew from Partygate on that they were coming into power. Like if you look at the polls, how they flipped under the Tories. Yeah. So they had years to prepare for this government, and this government has been hands down. Let's just put the brief Liz Truss government to one side, although we can come back to that because I think Liz Truss has been validated by many things that are happening. This government, though, this Starmer government, has hands down been the shittest government of my lifetime, just in terms of the politics of it. So you got Angela Rayner, a housing minister, getting done for dodging tax on a house. Yeah. Right? You've got Rushanara Ali, who was a housing minister, getting done for treating her own tenants in a house abysmally. Mm-hmm. You've got the Labour government forcibly reopening asylum hotels, overseen by advisors in Number 10 whose relatives are making millions from the asylum hotels, not to mention the Lord Ali stuff, the taking of the freebie stuff. The hypocrisy that runs through this government is like mind-boggling. And I just think the political class has deteriorated to such a degree that this is the end result of that. This is what happens when you fill Parliament with average, mediocre, pretty incompetent people who don't know what they're doing. I think I think that is all accurate, but I think you're missing a key component, which I think a lot of people do, which I think in this country is that we've got, and in America, but less so now, is that we've got a courage deficit. We just have people. I think you need to be smart to be an MP. Of course you do. I think you need to be competent, all of these things. But I think more than anything else, you need to have courage and integrity. And what we've had, and this is partly the fault of the British public, is that you get the government that you deserve. Mm-hmm. And so anybody who has any type of opinion which is in any way deemed to be controversial, was handed out, was smeared, was said to be racist, transphobic, etc., when all they were doing was actually being honest and having some form of spine. Yeah. And what we've actually got as a result is these vacuous non-entities there's nothing about them, and at the merest bit of pushback will crumble like a pack of cards. That's why we've got Keir Starmer.
I mean, it is crazy that not a single person on the Labour front bench has serious experience of running a business, creating a business, building a business. And these are the people in charge of our national economy. I mean, it's crazy to me. Like, the reason I said Liz Truss is validated, like, look at what's happening in the UK economy, man. I mean, you know, the cost of borrowing is higher than it was under Liz Truss, yet much of the mainstream media isn't saying anything. Our pile of debt is enormous. The cost of servicing our debt, like our national credit card, is like 100 billion plus a year. People don't know these numbers. These numbers are enormous. And the whole thing has become a Ponzi scheme. And, you know, I'm a big fan of people like Liam Halligan, The Economist, Telegraph. We do some stuff together on the Substack. And Liam is absolutely spot on. Like, this train that we are in, we are all locked in this train. It is not going to a good destination.
No.
It is going to implode. And we are going to need a radical change of direction. And a lot of people aren't going to like it because spending is going to have to be slashed. The state's going to have to be slashed. Taxes are probably going to have to go up. We're going to have to fix something that's been 20, 30 years in the making. Let's get some whiskey over here.
It's meant to be comedy, mate. Fuck me. This is meant to be. People tune into this because they just go, you know what I love about your podcast is that it's relaxed. It's a bit, you know, things are really serious, Francis. But it's people like, you know, comedians, but also people that we know from TRIGGERnometry, and we get to see a lighter side of it. Matt's like, this is going to be the end. Everything's going to die. We're all fucked. The train's going and we're getting off a cliff. Anyway, follow me on Substack.
Yeah. Actually, you should. You should. I'm real with everybody. Absolutely. And I even Substack in a suit. I do at home.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like a metaphor. Or a euphemism, rather. Matt, it's been, I think that's about time, isn't it, Jack? Okay, cool.
It's like, let's get the hell out of here.
Let's go to the pub and drown. I'm actually sober. I'm going to go to the pub and have a relapse. Anyway, on that note, Matt, where can people find you online? Your Substack,
They'll find me. I'm out there. Get the newsletter. Get real news. Don't be misled and gaslit.
Okay, there we go, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching and listening. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.